Okay, we're going live.
Hey,
We're
what's up,
live.
Morgan?
We're live.
What's
We're
up?
just waiting for Mark to
Can you
join.
hear me?
Yes, we can. No, who was that? Was that
That was
Paul?
Mark.
Was that hi, Mark? You need to just turn your camera on, and
Oh, okay.
then yeah, they want to see you. Wow, there's a lot of people who've already in here. Um,
I put this is a surprise fun one.
yeah, we
We're
just said get
chilling.
in here. Jan was
Mark,
Jan was knocking on the door, screaming, "Let me in! Let
Am I
me
on?
in!"
let me
Yeah,
in.
hi.
Hey,
So
That was
Mark.
so sad. Hi.
yeah, and so I said after the door broke down and Jan was in, I was like, "Mark, come on in." So so
Let's
now
hang out for a minute.
so now we're hanging out in here with all of us. Um,
Hey, that was such a good topic today. Very interesting.
thought
And
so.
I still have so many questions. Like how do you how, can we even actually conceptualize of a future where a monad can connect to an artificial body? Ooh.
yes, I mean, why not? It would just have to be so complex. I mean, we're not talking about technology that's available now, but
Yeah.
imagine like no mind would want to connect to anything that we have now, even the most advanced like robots that they have now. But imagine at a point when the whatever system is so complex can offer the same amount of complexity that our brain hardware allows. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not, right?
It makes me think of like Avatar, how they, lab grow these avatar bodies based on people's DNA. And so
Right.
they can interface into these biologically grown, avatars that do not have a consciousness, but are available for a monad or a consciousness.
Did you just say we don't have to be children again? We can skip the children stage?
Well, here's my
I don't want the children stage.
here here's well here's my next question. Is it beneficial for humanity to reach a state where we are no longer going through iterations of lives? Would that stunt like the progress or impede it in any way, to not experience multiple lives but to constantly preserve ourselves in one iteration?
You mean okay? Wait. You you need to explain what you mean by that. Are you meaning being immortal in your avatar that you have now?
Yeah, so do you think there would be any drawbacks to having the ability to connect to an artificial body and not experiencing iterations of life, like living a life, dying, being reincarnated, living that life as another iteration, so on and so forth?
Okay, so what you're saying is like if you now your mind got connected to some kind of other avatar that was not a flesh avatar,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and it was going to be a permanent thing that you would kind of link to that, and that you would then continue to evolve your mind from in that position for as long as
Yeah.
you could, given the physical realm. Yes.
Right. Yeah. You said so without a rest period between cycles. Is that right? What you meant,
That would
Jan?
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That would
It's
include
a
that.
little peculiar. It's a little peculiar to me to be in the position where you are put into a body that can constantly be upgraded or
Yeah,
modified.
that doesn't decay.
And doesn't decay. Are we missing something by missing out on the experience of dying and then being born again?
Okay. That's
I think Lauren's on it right there. It
yeah.
wouldn't be organic.
No.
You would no longer be an organic life form. You
No.
would be a consciousness with an environment that you're interacting with, but you would be an inorganic life form.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yes, we have a full house in here. So yeah, this is a really interesting question. I'm really curious as to what you all out like. Please type in your answers and we'll go over them. I'm really curious as to what you guys think about that. Philip, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think, Philip?
I don't know. I think it's definitely an important part of the process to have that rest cycle or the rest period in between life cycles. You
Right.
know, you would think if you could immortalize yourself in a non-organic body and just stay as the same iteration of who you are forever, you know, you would kind of get tired of that, don't you think? You know? I really don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I always think when people ask him if he could be immortal or live forever, would he want to? And he always says no, because there would be no point to getting up tomorrow. There would be no, um, there would be no persistence, or what am I trying to say? There would be no reason to get out of bed tomorrow because there would always be another day.
So
You know
you
what I
think that
mean?
the concept of death maybe gives a lot of vigor and drive for
It
people in their
it puts a
purpose?
rush. It puts a rush and a drive on the need for experience.
That's a good point, and I hadn't thought of
That's
that.
cool.
Because if you live forever as the iteration that you are, there's always another time, another day to experience.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the oncoming checkpoint of death, there is a need to experience, you know, a rush to do what you need to do before you die.
I was thinking of it more from the ego point of view. That do you want, or would it be good to have the ego that you are associated with in this lifetime be the one that you carried on forever in? What does that?
Yeah.
How does that?
Like what if you have that artificial body and you're like 260 years old and you're like, I'm sick of this. Unplug me. Like turn
Yeah.
off the battery, turn the switch off. Like what about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I think you could hit a place. I don't know, obviously for sure, but I think you might hit the maximum that you can grow given this ego. You know what I'm saying?
I'm all for living a few extra years, but I would not want to live as Philip Shope forever. You know.
I feel like in my personal opinion, I feel like humans should be able to live about 150 to 160 years old so that it can just prolong the experience just enough, but still you still have that experience that you're going to die soon. But
Yeah.
there's something about, I'm like, I feel like 150, 160 would be pretty much appropriate, because like when you turn 100, maybe then you're ready for children, if you're in adequate health or shape. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. When you were saying that about living longer and wanting to unplug, you know what it made me think of is that old Robin Williams movie Bicentennial Man. How
Oh yeah.
he starts out as a completely normal robot, you know, as an assistant to the household that he was purchased by. And as time goes on and there's augments to his body and he becomes more or less somewhat more conscious, at the end he's wanting the most human experience of all, which is death. He would like to die. And it's kind of a existential question kind of movie.
That makes me think about the recent Star Trek series Picard. And it's just like a fairly new series, but in this series there's the android Data, and Data at the point in the series chooses to die because throughout his entire life he was trying to figure out what it means to be human, and he concluded that the ultimate experience of being a human is the experience of death. So he volunteered for his consciousness and his whole program to just be completely shut down.
Yeah, what do you think, Susan? Would you want to live
I'm
for
sorry. I was having
long?
no,
Having
not
a tickle.
and I cannot for the life of me figure out which mic is mine. Oh, I think I'm the mic one. Tell me if I'm muted if I do this.
No.
You did mute when you were coughing, though. Oh, I see.
Okay, was I just muted? I was muted. Okay, thank you, Cassidy. I mean, Laura.
Oh, for them, you mean?
I'm muted
Right.
on Zoom so that you, because I didn't want to bother you guys because you were talking, and then I unmuted. But both of my mics were going in the streaming thing, and I'm like, damn it, I am not doing that thing where I mute that the person who's talking and not me. Anyway,
Right.
yes, I know you couldn't hear me because I was muting myself. All right, now I know I'm the bottom one. Anyway, you asked me if I would do it, not with this ego.
Yeah, just going back to a comment that
Interesting.
Elise said, I don't know if we covered this. Elise said, would that be stressful on a mind to be constantly active or in conscious mode without a rest in between cycles? Do you think that would be detrimental to a mind not to have that rest period or to just continue to be?
Well, I think this kind of gets to the point of like dreaming. Like we have to go to sleep. We have to dream. That's like an important part of our functioning. And I think there's some interesting parallels of dreaming and death. I don't, what do you think, Mark?
Well, that's it's a hell of a topic. I think that there's so many different ways to conceptualize an optimum human life, what that means, and what you're getting from it. And if we're going to posit continuity, that consciousness on some level has a continuity, that something like reincarnation occurs, that going through multiple cycles has a value. I think that I would be satisfied with more conscious contact with that continuity, like legit being able to read the Akashic records, to know who you were and what your life's purpose was for the last 1,000 years, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And starting over as a baby organically has a lot of real advantages. And then like waking up to all of that, maybe by the time you're in your early 20s or something, would be fantastic. And who wants an old body with failing teeth and bad knees and shit like that, right? If you're in synthesis and you're a composed, balanced personality, if you can live with yourself, if you can stand yourself for a weekend, right? You can stand yourself for eternity, but maybe not in this body.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I think a lot of people, what the wanting eternity comes from 100% from fear, just fear of the unknown, fear of death.
Yeah, fear of the unknown, or like a feeling like you haven't accomplished what you truly like wanted to accomplish in life.
I think that's
So like
there.
missing out.
I think that's there for definitely for some people. I think probably more advanced people who want to accomplish something, and that that need to keep doing something that's valuable, something that makes their mark on the world, something they've done to help humanity. But I think for most people it's simply fear that keeps them, that would say, where they would say, I would do anything to not die. I would keep this body, have all sorts of problems with it. And I think coming to terms with that and understanding how reality operates really helps you to see that what we're doing is purpose driven in our self-actualization, moving forward, growing, becoming better. And you can think about letting go of this particular incarnation, this particular localization that we've experienced, and review, as Mark said. I like the idea of reviewing what you've done and thinking about how you want to then grow for your next, with your next like sense of self, your next ego state. And I think that constantly improves, which is why I would not want to keep this ego. I don't think that the ego I have in this lifetime, I don't think it's terrible, but I just don't think that it's going to serve me forever. I don't think it's going to keep growing. Yeah. I think you can do a lot more. If you had the time, you would do work on yourself. You would grow. But I think that you need to kind of restart. I don't like the idea of being a child again, though. I really don't. I don't need that.
Let's be honest, it flew by pretty quick for all of us.
Yeah, it did. You know, I have interesting thoughts about us getting to a point as a human race to be able to sort of map out by chance, like when we die, enter the death current and are reborn again. I have thoughts about like what if we were able to like predict or map that out so that you can actually like plan your next life as you're like on your deathbed. What do y'all think about that?
That's interesting. I was reading Lauren's comment and I missed the beginning of it. What did you say right in the beginning? How did you start that? I heard the planning your next life on your deathbed of this one, but how did you start that?
Um, oh geez, I don't remember
You
what I
heard
just
the
said.
you heard you did you read this somewhere or you heard someone talking about it?
No, it's just some weird daydreaming that I have. Like, what if we were able to do that? What if we were able to figure out where somebody's going to be reincarnated next and even go as far as to like plan their upbringing and their parents have a plan to like help them get into their new iteration and helping them remember just enough from their past lives and helping them
Oh,
like integrate that into their next life.
yeah,
So
okay.
it's almost in a way kind of preserving the idea of like eternity, like living eternally, which we do. But like your iteration, you still go through that process of dying and being reborn, but you have just enough context from your past life through guidance from your new parents to put you on a track in the future.
So the parents that you were born into, reincarnated into, they would know who you were before? Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Okay, yeah, that's very that's a very interesting idea. How we would, hi Paul, long time no see. How, it's sort of like a fantasy thing to think about. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a thought experiment. Um, if we ever got to that place where we knew, like people knew how they were going to be reincarnated, you knew where you were going, you knew what avatar you were going to be born into, to what parents, and then you would just continue. At that point, I don't know that you would need to do the childhood again. You would just want to continue, you know what I mean, where you left off. In a way, I don't know what
Yeah.
you would get out of that. Those are just my thoughts though. um
Also, when you were saying that, I was thinking if everyone was able to dictate the details of their relocalization, like the details of the next life that they were living, if
Yeah.
everybody had a high enough state of consciousness to where they were able to do that, do you think it would diminish part of the growth process of us as a mind because we wouldn't necessarily go through all of the challenges that would be set up for us if we were pulled into that next life cycle unconsciously. So if you could set up the details, people wouldn't necessarily set up those same challenges that you may have if you were pulled into that next life
Interesting.
cycle
Good point.
It
unconsciously.
would kind of be like like a new weird version of like nepotism, only like evolutional nepotism in a way.
So if everybody could choose the perfected life cycle that they want, they would be consciously removing those challenges that they would have faced if they were
Or
drawn
would
into
you be
that next life
choosing,
cycle.
or would you be choosing the very challenge that you need in an aware way?
That's also a good point.
Yeah.
I would like to bring up how humanity right now is really messed up. We're really fucked up. And I think there's a lot of unnecessary suffering that we could try to like weed out or breed out and eventually get to a point where like we're not being challenged because of suffrage. We're being challenged to just do something more productive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to say something from what Mark just said, which is that I think it would make sense that when you got to a certain level of, enlightenment, when you got to a certain level of self awareness, and where you understand what you don't need, you have to be wise enough, knowledgeable enough to know then what do you need? Most people won't pick the things that they need because those things would be hard. They would be things that they don't want. Someone who's advanced enough to recognize this is something I need would be the kind who would then, you would think, have reached the point where they could start to dictate the kinds of situations that they would be born into so that they would experience those things. That could be part of the, the death current. When you're not aware enough, you just get swept along and you just get you get
just reinserted and then you're just on your merry way. Yeah.
Relocalized. But I think if you get to a certain level that you can consciousness and you can have a say in it, you can direct yourself. I think it would be because you had gotten to there. You know more what you need to do.
This is really interesting to me because when I grew up Mormon, in Mormonism, they teach you that you had a pre-life and that in your pre-life, you chose your situation.
Sneaky. That's fucking sneaky.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It is, really, yeah. Because what you're doing is you're people who have bad situations. It's very easy to say, but you chose this.
Yeah, and it gets into.
Oh,
go
thanks
ahead.
for joining us.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, with Mormonism, it also gets into like racism. So if like you're born,
that's what I was thinking.
Starving Black child in Africa, that means you were really bad in your pre-life.
Yep.
Ooh.
And if you're born white and like in a good financial situation, it means you were more righteous.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was thinking racist. It's racist.
Yeah,
that's some really ugly stuff. And a lot of caste systems and karmic systems are tied up on some level with things like that.
Yeah. I don't go for any of that. So
no. Yeah, tough stuff to unlearn. But you know what? I'm really glad that we kind of have the system we have. It's honestly taught me a bunch. And I gotta say, I used to be somebody who was terrified of death. In fact, that's what led me to our system, is because like I dropped my religious beliefs, but then I had the question of like, what actually happens when you die? And I was terrified of that, like every day for like several months, to the point where like I couldn't sleep at night because I was afraid to dream and not wake up.
Wow.
So I'm really grateful to understand the knowledge that I have now, because it's been a tremendous help. And am I comfortable with the idea of dying? Honestly, no. But I am comfortable in knowing that I'm not actually going to cease to exist. I'm going to go somewhere else. Wherever I go, that kind of stresses me out, but I don't think I'll give a shit when it actually happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to when you get older, you get less. I was very afraid too. When you get older, Jan, I'm not saying this happens to everybody, but with the knowledge that you have, it's going to be less frightening. Maybe I'm just tired, but I could just be coming from a place of being tired, you guys. But you get to a place where you're still like nothing that's programmed into us, the being afraid, so that we don't take it lightly. I mean, this is why there's such a fear of death instilled in us. But I think that when you get older, there's less of that fear, especially because you have so much in front of you that you still want to do. And I think that could be part of it. You don't want to lose you yet because there's still so much that you want to do. But you do get to the point where it's more like stepping out of this and stepping back into something that you're very familiar with, that you've done many, 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 many times. So, I'm not saying that you should rush off to start a new, relocalization, but I don't think ultimately it's something to allow yourself to become paralyzed with fear.
I one thing that helps me feel better is thinking that I've already died countless times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In many different ways.
Yeah.
So it's like I've already done this before.
You don't stop. You don't go through some huge upheaval. it's simple, and this is how people do describe it. The feeling, I think it's just moving you just keep moving forward. You just keep
Right.
moving forward. It's everybody else that's traumatized, and everybody who's left behind. You're just moving forward. So
Also, Susan, just with something that you said about no need to rush into the next relocalization, I think an important point to make, since we're on this topic and talking about, choosing your next life or suffering and all of these different things, I think we should make the point clear, and a lot of people know this, that you shouldn't rush into your next relocalization. So don't think that you can end anything that you have going now because there will be a prospect of something better in the next life. You should definitely learn to grow and become who you are as a person in this life. Even though we talk about relocalizations, it's not something that we should just say, oh, I'm going to step out of this one and into the next one.
Yes,
you
we're very against people unaliving themselves.
Yeah, that was the point I was kind of getting at.
Yeah, there's no escaping struggle.
Yeah.
You don't escape struggle. You just go from one situation where there's struggle into another. You have to move through struggle. That's how you
Right.
learn and grow. Yeah. And now remember again, that struggle is not equated to suffering. If you're in a situation where you're being abused, or suffering for some reason that is out of your control, that is not a struggle that you learn from, I am not equating it with that and saying, oh, you just need to suffer. That's your lot. That is not how that works.
I'm super passionate about this topic because we always say through struggle to the stars, and struggle should be something that you get a benefit out of. There's suffering in this world that's just unnecessary. Completely. It's unnecessary suffering, and it just damages people. And to tell those people that you need to use it and grow from it, some people can. But for a lot of people, that's not how it works. We need to be better at helping these people get through these situations.
Yeah, and it certainly doesn't mean that someone is allowed to cause suffering to others simply because it's learning struggle experience for the other person. That's not how this works. I think you guys all know that. Those are important points. Let's look at some of the comments, because
they're really good.
There's some good
really
stuff going
here.
on in here. Good, Laura. I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon. Cassidy said, don't force anything. Yeah, Scorpy. Hyperion Lee said, bullseye, Philip. It's good to see you, Paul. I'm glad you came in.
Well, Cherry, I haven't seen you around in ages.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So I kind of have another interesting point. I know we're kind of taking a glance at the comments, but since part of our stream today was about transhumanism, and now we're talking about different life cycles and struggle and stuff. So as we perfect ourselves and perfect our bodies and perfect society, a lot of those struggles will go by the wayside. So if we, augment our bodies and we have less health struggles, what kind of struggles do you see in a transhumanist futuristic society that would benefit the monad? So if there's less health struggles, sort of less struggles than we have just as our biological selves, if we can augment some of those struggles away, how is the monad continuing to benefit from struggle?
Are you talking...
I have an answer for that.
Okay, I just want to know first, are you talking about augmentation that helps us live longer, or are you talking about, okay, you're not talking about this eternal,
but also that. So if you were able to somehow upload yourself into a computer, like we were talking about from the article, that diminishes the struggle that provides growth for a monad. But I'm interested to hear what Jan wanted to say about that.
So I think when we reach a stage where we're sort of mitigating the idea of death and sort of acknowledging it better, I think our struggle isn't going to be so much on an individual level anymore, like struggling as an individual, like as a minority per se, or like from healthcare issues. I think the focus of struggle is going to be more collective. What do we do as a whole? What do we do about our planet? Do we start exploring, establishing ourselves on other planets? I feel like it'll be more of a collective struggle than it will individualistic struggles.
Interesting. That is not at all where I went. Um,
Where were you
I
going?
think so weirdly. I don't know. I think that I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, Philip, if you get to a place where our needs are met, okay,
Yeah.
so we've it's so far advanced that we no longer are worried about all of the survival things. We have either we have food provided to us or we don't need that kind of food anymore or whatever. We have all of our needs taken care of. I would think that we would be taking care of the planet. We would already have reached a place where we needed to live in some very balanced way with the environment,
Mhm.
and other beings who we would definitely recognize as other minds moving up, evolving, right? So you have to take care
Yeah.
of that. So what kind of struggle is left at that point? And we have the ability then to express ourselves creatively. We have what we have is the bringing what we have inside us out. That's where we can put our energy.
It would be like a new renaissance almost.
Yeah. So at that point, we're not. I'm saying all those other needs that we have would have to have been met, but then we end up with, who are we? Who and that's it, I'm not it's not a terrible struggle. It might be if you can't express yourself the way you want to, but I think it would come to that kind of, that's where our effort would be put. I don't think, I mean, some people would maybe be looking to go to other planets because they're just so interested in doing that, but I think also we might end up at the place where we realize that colonizing outward is not the way to go, and it's more being here as a collective, enjoying our collective, and recognize seeing each other and learning about each other, which is ultimately part of ourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not the kind of struggle that you normally think of when you think of struggle. Does that make sense? It's still
Yeah,
that
it's the
does.
struggle to express yourself. Mark, what are you thinking? Or are you reading the comments?
Yeah, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. What do you think on that about the struggle?
Ah, gosh. Again, it's such a can of caterpillars. We're hatching butterflies as we speak here. Got a
I
whole
love
ship
that. I
set up.
love
Yeah.
I love
They're
that
going to be
imagery.
painted lady butterflies when they come out of their chrysalises, or chrysalides if you prefer. It's fun. It's fun having a 9-year-old, which I didn't anticipate at this stage in my life becoming a parent. But I have a 9-year-old who has mentally reconciled how reincarnation and heaven can both be real in the same system. So
Wow. Wow. How did she do that?
she's pretty cool that way. And when we get into those topics, I don't lead, I listen a lot, and I ask open-ended questions and just see where it goes. It's better than being stoned.
I can
That's so
imagine
cool.
kids are amazing.
Kids
I
are
so
beautiful.
you're getting to experience life now through the eyes of how she's experiencing the world, which is really cool.
Yes, and that newness, that zen of fresh perspective is something we all always have to find, discover, or reinvent for ourselves, whether it's through, a physical relocalization or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I think it's probably a very sort of is it a symbiotic relationship too, because through, you know, you have such a philosophical background and approach that you can't help but, you know, get, like, she can't help but get that from you, and then she responds and you're listening and learning from her how she's seeing it, and then your response to that moves her further. I'm sure it's a very, very interesting and enriching environment for both of you.
It is, and I can't say like definitively this relationship has started in the remote past, you know, but it may as well have.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. And I wouldn't think that would be out of the picture. I think we share experiences with, you know, you get you get those feelings of who you've kind of shared stuff with before.
I have probably a sneaking suspicion that I've always been the slow learner in our particular dyad, and she's been my teacher.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
You, gosh, you need to find time to do videos, Mark. You've got a lot to talk about. Interesting um, subjects there. I'm telling you, you could just get on and do some live streams and talk about stuff like that. I know that a lot of your videos are very, you know, they're very production heavy, but
Yeah,
just
I may come at it a different way when I resuscitate my little channel.
because you could come on and do just this. You're good. You're easy to listen to, and offer a lot of ideas for people to think about. You know,
There are things that
just saying.
there are things probably I would say in here that I wouldn't take to a public stream. That's
Well,
just for whomever might, you know.
this is a nice environment. I like our
Oh, yeah.
environment. I feel very comfortable, and there's a lot of guys. You guys are talking away in here.
Mostly the latter, Lauren.
I was just going to say, yeah, Lauren is saying that you're a perfectionist. I know having a 9-year-old is going to keep you really busy too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, Laura just said that you should do your own thoughts. You could do that when you decide what you want to do with your channel moving forward. I like when we can just hang out too. See, look at the comments you're getting. Good. Yeah, you do have uh, a very good perspective and can bring some very good topics in here. Lauren, who are you blocking? Lauren's like, I just accidentally blocked someone. Yeah, everybody, yeah, stop blocking people. But I know how that can happen though. This was really, really fun. Cassidy, who were you talking to when you said don't be ashamed to ask for help?
Oh, I think that was when we were talking about struggle and
Oh,
stuff like that.
oh yes, that discussion. And you know what? Absolutely, and that's a good point, Cassidy. Please, everybody look out for your mental health. Okay, and now I'm going to get all, yeah, I'm going to do the whole triggered thing. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world, and
Yes.
there really is, and you have to protect your mental health. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking a little hiatus from some news. Not that I see a lot of it, but you know, when I get on Instagram and TikTok, and especially TikTok with the algorithms, they just feed me and feed me and feed me, and I repost some things. I get, within 5 minutes, the world is falling apart. We're doomed, and you know, I could do an entire live stream just on the
I
apocalypse.
get there a lot. I get that to that place a lot with the attack on trans people. It's just, it's so vibrant and vitriol.
Yeah.
It's just like at times I'm like, I just can't look at it anymore. Even when it's in support and explaining the rights of trans people, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, I can't, you know, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with the reality
Yeah.
that there's this big of an attack on such a marginalized group of people. So I have to step away, and I do self-care things. Like I turn my attention to watching content that's like uplifting, that
Yeah.
makes me laugh,
Yeah.
that's fun and enjoying, and just
Yeah.
like, where I can take a break from things.
I'm
So
right there with you. There's trans, abortion, Iran, um, politics. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
And like the fascism coming. So you know what, everybody, remember, let's stick together as a community and offer support. Look out for your mental health. It's important. Take those breaks when you need it. Lee just put through a really good point, like tip, which is that have your apps tell you if you've been on for a certain length of time and you just need to go away. Sometimes I just have to.
Yeah.
oh,
put
I've
it
gotten
away.
that before. I've scrolled down Instagram, and after a while it's like, hey, you've been scrolling for 45 minutes straight, you think
Yeah.
you might want to go outside? And I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, I
Yeah.
guess so. What the
You
It's
can-
got
fuck?
like a doom scrolling warning
Yeah.
device in it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I was, Scorpy, I almost quit watching politics, and, certain friends have told me recently that I need to stop with the scrolling, and you'll be on TikTok, and it just, my algorithm, like I keep saying, it knows me so well. And it's like every video is the person saying, don't scroll, stop scrolling, because I have something earth shattering that I need to tell you. And they're
Right.
not kidding. It's not clickbait. They want to tell you about the world's worst thing that happened in Florida today. And it's like, it's really, it's doom and gloom, and it's really hard. So yeah,
I read a really
back
good
away.
article. I read a really good article recently about how you need to stop doom scrolling. And when you're in that position, the best thing you can do is replace doom scrolling with education. You start learning things.
Mhm.
You push your mind. You challenge yourself and push your ideals to the max. And that's a healthier way of going through this kind of content.
It's true, and I turn myself to my current philosophy studies, and I enjoy that. On the other hand, I do want to know the political stuff that's happening, because they're counting on us just to go, you know what? No, I can't take care of it. I can't take care of it.
Yeah.
We need
Right.
to, when we have to be voting. I'm lucky I'm in Massachusetts. We're not a place where terrible things are happening, but just keep on top of making sure that with any legislature and things that you're doing what you need to in your area. That's all I'm going to say. But you don't have to watch scary videos about everybody screaming about it,
Yeah.
because everybody I follow will do it.
Yeah.
They'll
A
all be
good
talking about the
balance
same thing.
between exposing yourself to this, being knowledgeable about what's going on, and then developing the balance where you step away and you take care of yourself. Like it's like both things that you need to do, and you just got to find what works for you best.
I agree with you, Lee. We have to remember our accounts are still an extension of our power, and we should be using them to build our communities. And Lee, I like
Yes.
a lot of the stories that you post. I'm like, oh, am I following these
the
people?
reels and stuff.
This is how I get more of the same stuff, because I'm like, wow, this is another person spreading really good, because I'm not somebody who's creating that content, and I really give kudos to those people who are. And there are a lot of the racism. Okay, shut up, Susan. But it's so bad. It's so bad right now.
The return of like literal like fascism and Nazism is just it's unbelievable.
It's blatant.
But it's there. So it's like, sometimes I rip my hair out of my own head, because I'm like, how the hell as humanity are we still going towards fascism and Nazism?
No, we are.
But it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening straight up. So it's like, what the fuck do I do? I just take care of myself the best I can, and keep, I look at positive things that uplift me and make me laugh. But I'm still staying aware of the bullshittery that's going on.
Yeah. Lee, I feel for you, and um, I I would love to talk to you sometime more and see if there's a collaboration we could do. Um, to
Oh, well, I'm dying to talk to Lee on a
well,
stream.
we need to do
Not to
yeah.
put you on a spot,
Yeah,
Lee,
okay.
but
So everybody's trying to get Lee. Yeah, we really need to talk. I love a lot of the stuff you post, and I would love for your voice to be able to be heard. I think that would be
yeah.
good. So we should talk
Hmm.
about that, but there's no pushing, there's no stress, there's no don't get nervous, don't get nervous. Um and
Yeah,
besides,
we don't want to put you on
no,
the
I don't want
spot
to
or
put you on the
force you to do
spot, but
anything.
just know that we've been thinking about how wonderful you are, and we get a lot of info from you, and
See a
Lee
lot of
Lee
great content.
yeah,
yeah, Lee contributes very positively to the community, and for
very
that I'm
much.
always grateful.
Yeah. And in fact, like a lot of you guys in here, I mean, in fact, everybody in
Oh
here
yeah,
are
no,
very
everybody
you
everybody
guys
here
are
is wonderful.
hardcore, and
I was
we
just saying last night in my stream that this community brings me so much joy and so much laughter, and like we're angry together, and we cry together, we laugh together, like it's
yeah.
just it's so special to me to have
Um
every one of you here.
Yeah, well, we are glad to have you guys, and we're just growing and growing, and we just need to be a community where people feel safe and feel welcome, and will, share. We just don't want uh any kind of intolerance and you know uh religious preaching in here.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I saw something that Lauren said about an LGBTQ parents group on Facebook. I don't know. Oh gosh, I don't. Do I? Am I in any? Still in any groups? I left a lot of my groups, but of course I wouldn't. I'm not a parent. But I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't be in that group. But yeah, watch out for some of the groups out there. And I wouldn't support something that was not a good, find something that's a good fit. But
Yes.
anyway, oh, thanks, Scorpy. Um, are we ready to go off and get some
Yeah,
food?
you know what? I thank you all. Thank you for letting me pop in. I think we had
Well,
a
you
really
banged on the door loud enough, so
I'm like, let me in. But
yeah.
this was such a rich conversation, and I just wanted to give some afterthoughts on the topic of transhumanism, because that was a really good topic, and you and Philip like did so well at it. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm gonna put yeah, thank you, and I'm gonna put that article if you want to read the whole thing in the description. You can look later under the video, and also the two that Philip sent in. One of them is with the monkey and the Elon Musk,
The
the
Neuralink.
Neuralink, and the other one was I started to read that article. It sounded really good. I just didn't have time to do it before the stream. And was there something else I was putting through? Is there another link I'm putting through?
Any, no, but just the reminder: anybody who wants to do the art stuff, do the art stuff.
Do a quokka.
Do it.
If
Do
you're
it.
interested in drawing a quokka, this is for
I think I'll do it for fun. I don't
you
need to
should.
like win or anything, but
You
I'll do
should.
it for fun.
Anybody
Yeah.
okay, then we're gonna put all of them through, and you guys, we don't get to vote, but you guys are gonna vote on which one you like the best, and that design is going to go on like a t-shirt or a mug or something, and or both a t-shirt and whatever. I'm not offering, we don't even offer our own stuff across the board, but the person whose design it is going to get a free whatever mug or t-shirt, and whatever one is picked. So there's no end. We don't have an end in sight for this where you must have it in by next week, but try to do it soon-ish so that we can maybe vote not in the too distant future and not just keep talking about it.
Right.
And Mark is collecting all of the actual submissions, and just make sure that you do the right size. I think it was Elise and Mark gave the and Jan gave the specifications. If
Yeah,
you
do
don't
a
know,
PNG.
do a PNG. Yeah, if you don't know, just check before you do it so that you don't draw something fabulous that can't be expanded. Okay, thank you, Corvus. All right,
Hey, I
And can
just
I just
want.
put this up?
thank
Oh
you.
Sorry,
yeah,
go
go.
ahead, Jen.
No.
Go
You
for
go
it,
ahead,
Mark.
Mark.
Go.
I just wanted to circle back a little bit on something we were talking about a few minutes ago and drop the suggestion that I think it would be super cool if, I don't know what's realistic, once a month or something like that, if the source had like a once a month hot seat and
Oh, interesting. Yes,
if,
and then
like
you bring
I would
somebody
drop
on.
out of here so that Lee could be in here, get Elise in here, get Pooks in here, have a topic, have a couple of weeks of planning and thinking about a discussion topic in advance,
That'd
and
be
just hot
awesome.
seat somebody. That would be great.
Okay,
That is
so
a great
you can,
suggestion. And
and
I
we
know Susan and I have kind of
thought about it.
brainstormed a little
Yeah.
bit, but we haven't gotten into the nitty gritty
And-
of it.
Like a call-in option.
Yeah, we would do it in the secret so that you wouldn't be terrified. I know I would have been, I would have like not done it because this was hell for me. I am not good at this, but I can.
Well, that's okay. You can hide. I'm just putting that out there.
I think it's a fabulous idea. And
Yeah.
I would just want people to not be scared. We'll walk you through it. It's really nice. It would be in the secret stream. Nobody would be forced to do it, but I think that could be really cool.
I like that
Especially if
idea.
somebody is situated in a community, in a relationship with a community where they're like feeling the brunt of something that's already a topic anyway.
Right.
They need to be in the
Yeah.
conversation.
I love that idea. And you just need to be able to be on camera. You just need a like, I just bought a little webcam, like,
Yeah.
or you use the camera. You do not need a perfect setup. Oh, you know what? I just realized, you guys, I didn't wear earphones. Neither did you, Philip.
No, I haven't for the last couple streams.
And there
Oh
was,
yeah, you look
I
great.
thought I had to, or there would be that infinite sound.
Echo thing.
No.
You guys,
Yeah.
do I sound okay without?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
sound perfect.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh my God, I fucking hated those headphone thingies. I got such
Yeah,
an
you don't.
earache
You know,
last-
I
You
think
have been
headphones are an
freed.
option. Yeah.
You have been freed from technology.
Fuck that. Fuck that, because I thought the first time I did it and there was this repeat and I was like, oh, I'm not wearing my earphones. That's why.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I think you could probably Zoom from a mobile phone if you had to do it that way, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could even
Yeah.
do that. I
Yeah,
don't even
yeah.
care if you
Answering Lee there.
and if you're if Lee said that, yes, and you'd just be the vertical thing, or you could put it sideways.
Yeah,
It
just
doesn't
hold
matter.
it, or you put it on. I've got like a tripod for
Yeah.
my iPhone that works great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
It's
I
like a
would.
$12 thing at Best Buy.
Yeah, it wouldn't even matter if you were vertically. We went through that with the whole course where we wanted
Yeah.
everybody to have it this sideways, and you know what? Screw it. It doesn't matter as long as you're there. As long as you're on
Yeah.
camera, people can see you. I wouldn't care. Okay.
Hey,
Yay.
so before
idea.
we go, I just want to bring up one tiny last thing that we can talk about for just a minute or two. And we got into topics of death and things like that and losing loved ones. I gotta say, it's been exactly a year since we lost Carrie. And I just want to take like just a couple moments to, just say I miss her. That was my first experience of having a loved one die, and it's been really incredibly difficult. And the feelings are definitely coming up now as her death anniversary like sort of comes up. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that like for 2 seconds, that I just miss her very much.
We did that, right? Did you miss the end of the public one? Because we did talk about her, and thank you everybody for the blue dragons that you're putting
Yes.
through. We talked about what she meant, and definitely do it again. You can't do it enough. I know for anybody that didn't know her, you're kind of going along with that we lost somebody very, very special to us. And yeah, it's been a year, and the people who were around then, we're feeling it. So I think it's appropriate to remember her today.
If anybody's missing Carrie and wants to talk to me about it, I'm an open book.
Me too, Cassidy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you, she, Laura, she was, yeah, she was,
So
she was fantastic.
rest to the goat. She was the greatest on earth.
Yeah,
Rest.
she was, yeah, she was our dragon. She was our dragon. And also the big cuddle hugger when you needed a virtual hug, she was there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to bring her up for 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, and on that note, I think this
Shall we
was,
sign off? This was
yeah,
fun.
this was great.
Yeah, I think
Thank
it's
you
been
for
really
coming.
great.
Yeah,
And thank you, Jan and Mark, for joining us. I thought we had a good
Yeah.
conversation.
we did.
No
I hope,
problem.
thank you to, I always forget to do this. I am so bad, but you guys mean the world to us. Your support, your joining the channel. It is like, it's over the top for us because we did this
Yeah.
as volunteers who never considered that it would be anything other than volunteering. And your support is, it tickles us to no end, to have it. And you definitely don't need to support financially. Showing up and interacting is, really important to us. And
Yeah, it means a lot.
it means a lot. So if ever you have any financial issues or whatever, just
Don't worry about
that
it.
is, you are appreciated for coming and interacting, and you never have to have a green name in order.
Yeah. Just coming to the chat and like hanging out is all the world of support.
You are valued in the community. Okay, it's really important just to be part of the community, to interact, to talk, to learn together, all of that. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Anyway, Cassidy is like, Cassidy's cutting up onions. Yeah, I will be too.
I'm not crying. I'm
No,
cutting
it's not crying.
onions.
It's not me.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. This is really, really fun. And we're glad that Philip is back. Okay, well, I'll do the hearts. I'm a big heart person. All right, you guys. This was awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, what, honey?
Yeah. Good night, and see you next time.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye, you guys.
Good night.
And